The Driving While Awesome podcast is recorded live to SD card at the Beeline Motor Club in Santa Cruz, California.
Welcome to Driving While Awesome, part of the Haggerty Podcast Network. My name is Warren.
And I'm Art.
We are without Lane today. He is at a Nelly concert in Las Vegas. That might be actually true, if you're thinking I'm joking.
It is.
I'm not sure when the concert is, but he's at a trade show in Vegas. I'm sure we'll hear all about it on a future episode. But for now, the two of us soldier on.
Yeah, we soldier on in the cold as usual.
You look freezing, but it's not that cold.
Yeah.
Especially, did you know that the Northeast is going to get a really crazy cold snap? It's going from like 35 or 40 degrees to negative in a 24-hour period.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there's
shout out. It's about 59 degrees here in Art's Arctic winter.
I kind of want to do this, where you do like the ninja look, you pull your drawstrings, go really small.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's insane. I mean, that sounds like a lot of pipes bursting and stuff.
I know. I think that's also like without the wind chill. So, be safe out there. We'll continue to carry on.
Dude, so our friend Ruben, years ago when this happened, something similar happened in New York City, like that whole region. And the whole city shut down.
Yeah.
They'd shut off all the trains, everyone, like street traffic. And he has pictures like walking down, like in Manhattan, like down the big, I don't know what the avenues are. But like, yeah, like down Fifth Avenue, I guess, Yep. And he's like in the middle of the street, like just him and his wife at the time, like by themselves, no one around. It's pretty cool.
It's very cool. Yeah, that'd be a good photo shoot opportunity, right? Tough to get out there.
But I think they were just off like the main drag there on one of the hotels. So like they were the only ones around. Anyone else that commuted or whatever wasn't, they were just staying at home.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely cool.
Dude, speaking of extreme weather and things like that, I stumbled on this documentary series on YouTube, which I want to tell the listeners about because it's kind of insane. It's called Deadliest Journeys. And it's a French documentary maker that I don't know where they're airing originally, like must be on BBC or something, but they go to like every third world country or second world in some cases and have like incredible access and really good documentary skills. We're talking about like the most heart of the jungle, getting across the Congo. It takes 4 days to go 60 kilometers. They're in these old military trucks that have been cobbled together. They're the one. So if this is interesting to you, first of all, it covers travel, covers automotive stuff, a lot of like ingenuity and just getting after it. It will make you feel so good about your current situation, unless you happen to live I know we have a big listenership in the Congo. Shout out to Cameroon. Mm-hmm. But the Cameroon episode, they call them jungle taxis. And essentially it's just someone with a car that'll charge people. It is the worst car I've ever seen still in use and condition-wise ever. By far the worst ever. I can't wait to show it to you. And the back seat, he has like, 4 people in the back seat. There's just a board, like a 2x4 for the seat back.
Oh, sweet.
Now,
so no floor probably?
The floor is there. The seat bottom, I think, is there, but there's no back to the seat. And the roads are beyond rough. Beyond rough. And this is a front-wheel drive, like 90s Corolla. And he's going through off-road sections that I wouldn't even think to take my Tundra on. People getting out and pushing, like up to their knees in mud, digging cars out, stuck for a day. No tools, it is like, it's unbelievable. It really is unbelievable. So anyways, I watch it with my son who's into this kind of stuff too, just like the actual like motorized moving things and, crashing through mud puddles and going over ferries and dealing with all this stuff. Deadliest Journeys on YouTube. And from what I can tell, there's like 50 of these 1 hour documentaries.
That's wild. That puts like Camel Trophy to shame, is what you're saying?
Camel Trophy is amazing.
But they have all the equipment.
They do. And they have like really knowledgeable people. Like these are guys that have just been doing it so long that they sort of know. But, things like they go along through the jungle and they get to a point where there's just a mud quagmire. I'm going to use the word quagmire. I'm not even afraid to use it.
I like it. Okay.
And multiple trucks stuck, but there's one in front that's like tilted over. And by the way, all of these big trucks are overloaded to the max, and then they sell people tickets to ride on the top of the shit on the truck, which is everything's like the most dangerous shit you've ever seen or heard of. But they get to a point where this truck's stuck. Days go by. The crew that was stuck was there for 11 days. Dang. Just think about that for a second.
The middle of the jungle.
Middle of the jungle. No, there's no escape. You're just having to catch food and eat and sit under your truck in the rain. They get the truck behind him. They want to push him out of the way, right? But they don't want to get that truck stuck as well. So what do? They get a huge tree, cut it down, make a battering ram that they connect the front of the good truck to the back of the stuck truck, and they push the entire thing out with using the tree.
Whoa.
It's like it's so crazy, dude. So anyways, anytime you see like one of these mall crawler Toyota Tacomas or, you know, the Ford Raptor that's like pristine and stuff, think of these guys out there, like they're doing it. And the vehicles they're using are, it's just unbelievable. I don't even know what to say. So there's a few, the ones that stood out was like the Madagascar one was amazing, Cameroon, and the Congo. I think Congo is probably the wildest place still left out there, where it's like it's like going back in time, where people are just, it's like Oregon Trail days.
Yeah, super rural like that. Yeah, where you have
there's just nothing,
no infrastructure. Yeah,
no,
yeah, because I know like the Darien Gap is like renowned for that. Right?
Darien Gap
like,
is another one for sure, but there's no roads there, so that's like there's just paths. You know?
And that was one of the places that they had to traverse in the Camel Trophy, right?
I think it was. Well, I know they were in that area, but I don't know if they did the gap itself. But yes, they did one of those. Like, it wasn't Panama, but it was another one of those spots, and it's just, crazy jungle. Like,
it's madness.
Your feet never dry out.
You know? There was on a related note, I watched a thing on. It was one of these countries. It was in West Africa. I can't remember which one, but it was about the mining of I think it might have been cobalt, and so, you know, obviously that's like a major economic source there, you know, whatever, and it employs a tremendous amount of people. But like the whole thing was that it was a group of Western scientists and like human rights, you know, lawyers and people from NGOs were there to basically inspect the mines. And of course, they were interviewing all of the employees to find out how old they were and the conditions and all that shit.
God.
And like, it's a lot of kids, you know, there's a lot of like.
So I had to turn one off. It was I'll let you finish, but
and so it was like a lot of kids, and they would say they're 19 or whatever, but they're obviously 12 or something. And they're like in the worst, most dangerous conditions and all this other stuff. But the roads to the mines are like what you're describing too, but not so rural, where they're traversed regularly, but they're like in the worst condition. And so like they have like little, you know, Hiluxes and stuff. And I mean, it's a full on adventure just to get to work every day.
Yeah.
Like, it's like a fucking 2-hour trek. It's a shorter thing.
Totally.
But it's 2 to 3 hours from town, and it's in like this worst condition. You think, okay, well, again, it's all about exploitation and, you know, where the resources go. But you think that if it's a cobalt mine, it's obviously producing a lot of money for some people. You would think they would fix that road and build some infrastructure to streamline that process and get people in and out easier and like all those things.
And to think that if there's a place, you know, in the world like the Congo, that it's huge, it's massive, and it's beautiful, and there's so much to offer. It's in some ways it's good there isn't that infrastructure because it keeps it wild. But I think there will be a time where there's going to be some sort of advancement in road making, and I think they could do it now. Like the Chinese are very good at it, making bridges and all that, but. Where they can go through and maybe put like one highway across the whole country, and it will completely change the entire place, right?
Yeah.
So the one when you said cobalt mine, there's one in it might have been the same one that you watched, but in Cameroon, this kind of goes back to your concrete mine idea.
Yeah. Concrete mine, yeah.
This is a gravel mine, which is basically just granite rocks that they would then burn tires under the boulders, big boulders, to destabilize the rock, and then they crack the rock down into smaller rocks, and then children, like our kids' age, so sad, are sitting there all day long on the ground with a hammer, cracking these rocks down into what we know as gravel, and then that's how they make it. There's no machinery.
Gosh.
Making gravel by hand. Also, the pollution by burning tires, like the whole thing is just so sad. And so the show is not only the journeys, which they are along for the ride, and I don't even know how they get the footage. It's amazing because they're outside of the car filming the car coming, and they're also in it, you know, with the driver and the mechanics mechanics in quotes. And then they also show like where these people are actually going and what their jobs are. And, the mines and the fishing and all this stuff. It's really fascinating. Super crazy.
Sounds like a good watch.
When I was younger and before I had kids, I wanted to travel like that and like really get out there. And I've done a little bit of it, but watch one of these shows and you realize it's just not fun. There's no. There are some like romanticizing of like going down the Congo, like on the Congo River in a cool boat. And
Congo line, maybe?
A Congo line. And I think some places have set up better for like the more, glamping stuff like Egypt and Tanzania and, South Africa. But there's no glamping.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. There's no glamping.
It's the real deal.
Dude, I mean, I think at the end of it, if you make it, it's like the most incredible like sense of success, but it's brutal though. It's not necessarily something I want to endure.
No, there's no fun.
Yeah. On a somewhat related note, did you watch the WRC Monaco racing?
I did.
Okay.
It's on my list.
All right. Well, we don't have to go into specifics, but I had a really funny situation and, are we going to do questions first and then Morning Motors? But before Morning Motors, that night, I had a really weird nightmare, and it was funny that it was a nightmare because I dreamt that I was racing in WRC2, which is like the lower tier class, because I watched all the replays and shit, and I was like doing really well, and I was like, I had gotten up to like 5th place, and I was like, dude, this is the best I've ever done. I can't believe I'm doing this well. And in my dream, I was really stressed out about it because I had 2 more stages left, and like the guy behind me was like a second off, and I'm like, dude, I don't know if I can keep this pace and like stay ahead of this guy. And I'm like, this particular section's really icy. And like, I was in my dream, I was super stressed out. And like, I actually like woke up multiple times and I would go back to sleep and I would dream the same shit. And I'm like, no, I don't want, and it's just like funny because you think that's like a dream come true. You want to do that, right?
I know.
But like
the stress of it.
But I was really stressed out in my dream and it was a nightmare, which is weird.
It's funny. I had a weird nightmare too that I was in a big truck. And it's right from watching these damn shows. I've been watching them at night too. Like when the family's all in bed, I'll have it on as I'm like scrolling.
Same. Yeah.
And it's like easy to watch. But side note, YouTube has gotten so bad with ads now that I think I have to invest in the $16 a month.
Ooh, you're in.
I don't want to, but I watch it enough to where I think it's worth it. Ah, man, it's a lot though, right? 16.
Yeah, and it's on top of every other subscription.
I know, and I'm kind of the only one that uses it. Like my family's not watching YouTube, like unless I, sit them down.
I mean, it depends how much you value it. I mean, I guess it sounds like it's annoying you enough.
I actually was looking at it last night with my stopwatch because I'm like, this is ridiculous, and it was like 3 or 4 minutes and then an ad.
Dang.
3 or 4 minutes
for those videos. Yeah, because
some aren't as bad.
Yeah,
I know. So I don't know what that is. Maybe that's more like I'm watching a movie. They consider it or a.
Well, I think it's the people, like whoever the producer is, they set the amount of ads they want to put in their thing. So they actually set it. So they see that they have an opportunity.
I thought you couldn't do that until maybe they get quite a few views. It's like hundreds of thousands of views. So maybe once you get to a threshold, you can do that. Because I think up until a certain point, YouTube makes it. Anyway, where was I going with that?
Ads you wanted to pay because you were over it?
I don't want to pay. It's gone.
Dang.
We'll get back to it. Wait, what were you saying? Oh, dreams.
Oh, dreams.
I had a dream that all podcasts will be created equal. I was in a big truck driving uphill, and I couldn't stop it from rolling back. No matter how hard I hit the brakes or emergency brake or try to put it in park, it just kept wanting to roll back.
Yeah.
And it was a very like helpless feeling.
To
the point where I'm thinking it's going to like crash into something, and you're just like you could feel it like standing on the brake pedal.
I can see how that's a real nightmare.
That's a real nightmare.
Not like being in a really cool place racing.
Nothing happened. There was no impact. It was just that feeling of like, God damn it, I need to stop this truck.
Yeah. But that's almost worse, right? Because
it kind of is.
You just keep going.
It was a constant impact is imminent.
Yeah.
Imminent impact.
Suspense.
Question time?
Let's do it.
Let's see what's out there, huh? And then we will get to some morning motas. Oh man, don't you hate that when you're about to click like a button or a spot on your screen and then a pop-up comes?
Yep.
And then you hit the pop-up and then it takes you into like some other thing and oh gosh. All right. Ben Roger says, oh, by the way, Ben, thanks for the mimosa at Morning Motors. That was very nice. What's the rally schedule look like this year? Springtime Sierra Rally and fall on the coast. Maybe a little bit better weather-wise. Well, it all depends on roads. We have an idea for a spring rally, and that's looking good. Like to make it back to the Sierra as well, but we need to see what's like open and fixed and available. So
yep,
that's the thing right now. Too early to say, but we'll let you know as soon as we know.
Yeah, the storms really like wreak havoc on all of our roads around here.
Blasted.
And there's a lot of research that needs to go into the rest of the region.
Yep. Richard Chen says, besides DWA and Radwood items, what are your favorite car-themed T-shirts in the closet? I have a cool Avance shirt that I was given at the last Radwood PNW. It's kind of a 70s sort of font colors. That's sort of automotive related. What about you?
Yeah, I'm trying to think right now. I have one that I haven't worn in years because I kind of shrunk it a long time ago.
That's the worst.
And it's basically it's borderline uncool for me at least. And I'll tell you a little backstory because it's funny. I wore it the last time I wore it was probably this is how long I've had it. I wore it like in 2014, and I wore it twice, and then I shrunk it, and it's like in brand new condition. Of course, you don't know what the shirt is yet, but I was at a party in San Francisco, and I was getting hit on by a lot of guys. And
I know what this shirt is.
And so, whatever, I was like, okay, cool, whatever, they're complimenting. And the one guy walks up, he's like, hey, did I see you at this one gym or whatever? And I'm like, whoa, no, it was not that gym. And then one of my coworkers at the time walks over and he's like, dude, next time try an extra medium, like as a joke, because it looked pretty small. And it was actually an Ayrton Senna shirt that I bought at the Senna store in Brazil.
Oh.
And so it's a John Player Special Edition one, Lotus 98T or 97. It didn't really distinct, but it's the same, livery. And it had it was 97 because it had first win on one arm. It had like a little patch that says first win. And he drove the 97T when he won that first win race. And it's a nice polo. It's like very high quality material. It's like not a peak, like it's not like it's like just like a smooth like cotton shirt, really comfortable. And I fucking blew it and I messed it up. So I've been thinking about what to do with that shirt because it's a nice shirt. It's black and it's got like some gold like little accents, but it's not like super flashy.
You've had it since 13?
And I've had it since 13. And I'm just wondering,
it's time for a little like anniversary party. 10 years.
It's 10 years, dude. Yeah, together. And it's a rad shirt, but again,
do you have any mannequins in your house you could put it on?
That's a good call, dude. Just put it on display.
Yeah,
that's a good idea. Or put it up on the wall like they do soccer jerseys.
Exactly. Well, what else could you do with it? I mean, it's a polo, so and you also have graphics on the sleeves. Like you can do those T-shirt quilts, like I've talked about, but that just ruins the shirt.
No, I think the move is the real move is an eBay sale, but I don't want to deal with selling a shirt.
Oh, I see.
feel like somebody would want that.
Get like $50 for it.
Yeah, because it's an authentic like Santa like brand. Because Santa had a clothing brand.
Yeah. I know the
and it's still and it exists still. And they're nice stores in Brazil too. They're like nice little boutiques. And but yeah, I mean, I'll have to post it up after the show or something in some funny manner. But yeah, it's again, not gaudy. I know it sounds crazy because it's black and gold, but it's like all black with very little gold highlights.
Well, in my experience too, once you get outside of North America, sizes are not what they seem in places. Like I had a Ducati shirt that I bought at Laguna Seca at MotoGP, but it was sold by one of those guys that's probably from England that comes, follows the circuit or whatever.
Yep.
And he had a cool booth with a ton of rad stuff, and I didn't get to try it on. It was like in a package.
Oh, okay.
But I got my size. It was so tight, and it had like a mini like collar.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like a high. It was basically I think I wore it twice, and it was like, all right,
that's classic.
Who are we kidding here? Who's the kid? So, anyways, extra medium. I thought you were going to say stick shifters.
Oh, the stick shifter. That
was way later than 2013
for sure. Yeah, that's a gem.
I don't see that coming out much.
It doesn't. It stays in the closet.
I did just order a T-shirt off of eBay, so we'll see how it looks. But it's a surprise, I guess.
Yeah.
No, by the time this comes out, it's just a McLaren International logo. So that's like F1 and earlier days of McLaren. So it's got the old like graphic and font, not the current one. So anyways,
I like it.
Let's see. Big Fat Flip says, rotaries sound like fun, but I could never bring myself to own one. What car do you like the idea of, but would never own? Citroen. I love Citroens a lot.
Yeah.
I like DSs a lot. I like 2CVs. I like SMs. I don't think I can really bring myself to do it. Even something more modern. I mean, we just don't have the support here. It'd be like a part-time job, just kind of keeping it.
Yeah.
You'd have to be like in the club, researching parts, kind of always thinking about it. At least that's in my mind. I could be wrong because people drive them.
I mean, no, it's true. The main thing is that they're complex and there are very few people that work on them, right? So like, and that's a fact. And so even like, you know, the car that Paul at Auto Kennel like has owned now twice, like, you know, they had issues and, you know, he's got a guy, but
he's also in a town, city that loves cars, and there's just one guy.
It's one guy.
And he's the guy.
And he's very old now, apparently, and he's like the guy, so who knows what's going to happen there. But yeah, they're amazing cars for sure. That's a tough one. I mean, I've said Lotus Esprit a million times, or yeah, the early ones, but I think another one that I have never really talked about, but you know, we talked about Land Rovers earlier today, but I feel like a Range Rover Classic short wheelbase are so awesome.
That's another.
But like, again, you know, they're rusty, they're kind of clunky old things, but they're really cool looking. But it's like, I don't know, it's not, I can never really see myself doing it, but I really like them. I mean, I think they're really cool, and they have a pretty rad community too, and a lot of support. But it's like one of those cars that I think people anticipate having to like constantly wrench and work on, and it's part of the whole ownership experience, and I just don't want to deal with it.
Yeah, when I in a former life ran a shop here, and we had a few customers with Land Rovers. One was a Range Rover Classic, and one was a Discovery. And they were in a lot. And the other thing was they had a lot of leaks and, you know, seals and this and that needed replacing, and they were never easy to find. Even like from European auto suppliers, really? It was like, okay, you can get it from this guy, but it's going to take a week. The car is, by the way, disabled, so it's just parked in our lot. It's going to take a week, and then, you also need this part, and that comes from a different guy that'll take a week. And it wasn't easy, and I can't imagine it's any better now, but maybe.
Yeah, definitely like a fourth or fifth car, if anything, right?
What about rotaries? Have you ever dabbled?
I've never dabbled. I do like them, and I mean, they're kind of dabbly. I don't know. I mean, like I actually have always, we've talked about it early on for years, in terms of like the podcast, but I really like the early, like the GSL SE. So it's the FA body style, I guess it's called, and like they have the earlier, like an earlier shape, but they have the updated taillight, I should say, and they have a cooler interior. They have cool wheels. They have an LSD, and they have the 13B that went into the later car. Like, that's a really cool car. I like those a lot, and they're becoming pretty valuable now. And obviously the FBs are amazing, but they're super, or FDs rather, sorry, which is the one that's in that post and for the questions. But those are very expensive now, and it's one of those cars that I feel like I can't justify, but I've never driven one, so maybe after driving one, maybe they are worth the 50-60 grand.
I know, they're beautiful, so well proportioned, cool cars. But yeah, I'm just kind of with you. There was a minute that I thought RX-8s would do something and be kind of popular because they're sort of like the last of that idea. That's it, right?
Yeah, only the latest, the last ones look pretty decent. Right. The early ones are horrible looking.
I know.
I feel like
it's only the last ones that I thought.
I think those are kind of digestible, but everyone said I never drove one, but like, you know, in period, everyone said they drove really well. Like, they were actually a good driving car, but it was an aesthetic thing that was kind of compromised them.
Yep. Any other car brands that you've like thought about, but you're like, I can't do it? I mean, like, for me, I love the idea of a 90s Bentley.
That's a good
Continental.
One. Oh, shit, yeah.
Turbo, Turbo R.
Turbo R is cool.
That's probably the only one I could actually afford. Maybe like a weird hardtop Continental. But they're terrifying. Yeah, I don't know. Ferrari falls in that category too. Like, I'm not going to get a cheap Ferrari, especially after watching like Farah's videos and stuff that I already knew. But
well, what about, you always talk about the I don't know what the chassis code is, but like the early 2000s, like turbo coupe V12 thing. What is it? Like the CL600.
Oh yeah.
You like those a lot. They are very cool looking, but those are really complicated.
They are, but at least parts are a click of a button.
That's
away.
Okay.
You know, like there's Mercedes is really good about parts, and there's a lot of aftermarket support that make, off-brand suspension.
But isn't it a labor thing
and
with that car? Because it's just there's like you have to basically take the engine out for anything.
Yeah, some of it, yeah. You don't want to do turbos and certain oil leaks and stuff like that. But for the most part, they're the same issues you'd have on any Mercedes of the era. So like air suspension and expensive brake jobs and things like that. But
so the buy-ins are really cheap, and you have a really pretty car, but it's like super expensive to keep on the road.
Definitely like roulette, because at any point it could be like, oh, you need $7,000 in active body control work.
Nice.
You go, that doesn't sound fun.
That does not.
I'm not going to do that.
Dude, what about actually? There's one. This is kind of goes back to to last week's question where someone asked about guilty pleasures.
Oh yeah,
I really like cyclones and typhoons. Those things.
I like that too. There was one at Morning Motors for sale. It was a Typhoon.
Yeah.
And it was the whitish silver-ish on gray. I like them. I want to like them, but I know that
what's going on.
Terrible to drive. Like, I don't think there'd be any like really good quality about it. It's definitely the when you walk away and look back car.
Yeah, they're super rad looking, and conceptually, like the fact that they're really fast, and they put all, it's like they beat like the F335 Imperial, or was it 348? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Like an acceleration and all that. I mean, it's like it's a cool idea, but obviously like really like cheap, poorly put together execution.
Yeah.
But I was really surprised, and I talked to Camisa about it after the fact. But he made a video, and he really liked the truck. The Cyclone's the truck, right? And he was like ranted and raved and said that it actually drove really well and like it handled well and all kinds of shit. Really? So I don't know what the deal was there,
man. But yeah, well, I mean, definitely worth a try if we get a chance to drive one. But it would be hard to live that life.
I mean, yeah, but it's just like interior materials and all that jazz.
Yeah. All the fit and finish.
Yeah,
and just being in that crew.
Oh, dude, your community.
I know. Meta World Cool says, with both clocking in at the 6 to 10,000 range, which would you choose as your next rally car and why? 2005, 2006 R53 Mini Cooper S or 94, 95 R129 SL500? Totally different but interesting experiences, I know. Good question. Those are both cars that I have a lot of time in. My wife had an R53 Mini Cooper S 2006, which is the last of that year, and then I've driven many SL500s. It depends on the what kind of rally you want to do. The R129 is not going to be fun on the twisty tight stuff, period. Like heavy braking, it's an automatic, and it's
soft too.
Soft, yeah, and the automatic is not very responsive. However, on like the long sweeper stuff, straightaways, just cruising leisurely, it's great. It's going to be better than the Mini for sure. Yep. But the Mini's a pretty capable, well-built little car.
Yep.
Rare Special Bulldog? Are we going to go?
I mean, it's up there. That would be my choice. Maybe a Pug. I mean, it would definitely be my choice, I think, because overall, like, yeah, of course, we try to balance out the rallies, right? You're mixing up the roads, but I feel like you would have more fun in the Mini. If you, especially like, I mean, he's a driver, right? I mean, he likes, he does track days and he's been on our rallies. So like, I feel like he would enjoy that more. Whereas I feel like the SL500 is going to be a little too GT, right?
Yep. Yeah. It's a heavy car. It was never meant to be hustled on these tight stuff. Just wasn't built for that.
Yeah.
You could probably put in some effort to make it better for that. Like obviously better tires, suspension, better brakes,
whatever AMG offered.
Yeah, like trying to go all that, but it's still going to be an automatic, which is for a rally, it's not great, and it's going to drive heavy. So
yeah, and I mean, there's also a lot of sense of occasion to the Mini. I feel right, like it's got the supercharger whine, and it's a darty little thing, and I mean, it's just the seating position, that interior, all that stuff is fun. I mean, I feel like it kind of puts you in that rally mindset.
I agree. Totally agree. I really like them. And I think finding a good John Cooper Works 06 or 05 with a chrono package, that's important. That's the way to go.
No GP, huh?
Well, no back seat, and I hear they're pretty rough.
Yeah, they're really awesome. But
they're very cool.
Yeah.
And they're also a lot more expensive, like 10 grand premium.
Yeah, you're definitely not going to get them under 10 grand.
So that's it. Eamon Shaw says, are you guys planning on coming out with more DWA merch soon? Anything in the works? Yes, we are, but time. We got some stuff coming, though. We're talking about some new stickers and things like that in the works. So, yeah. You have any ideas for that?
Not off the top of my head.
Maybe a rally blanket?
Maybe a rally blanket. Maybe a hat or two.
It's Chazzy FYI says, oh, I don't know what he's saying. Someone admiring the Swedish goods. Must be from the photo you posted.
Swedish goods. Yeah.
SV Expert says, when driving and there's a bag in the road, do you make sure that it doesn't get stuck to the front of your bumper? By looking at your rear view mirror to make sure you see it in your rear view mirror. I saw a car the other day on the freeway with a pretty big piece of cardboard stuck to the front of it. Looked like a total fool. I've started a note folder in my phone for questions for all you because I forget more than I remember to ask. LOL. Well, thank you.
Dude,
appreciate that.
Forget looking like a fool. You can overheat your car. That's happened to me.
This is true.
Dude, I really, really freak out. Actually, it's one of my pet peeves because I've had two things happen to me that are very problematic. With bags. So one, I was in my E36 M3 years ago, and I saw the bag. I tried to avoid it, but it got stuck in the front. Whatever. I didn't see it come out the back and didn't think much of it. I'm like, it's probably on my bumper. And then my temperature started to climb. What the hell's going on? I pulled over, and sure enough, like it covered the
closed over it.
Yeah, it covered it perfectly. So that was that. And then the other thing was I had one on a Miata. Get stuck on my exhaust system and it melted to it.
I've seen that.
And then I had like a stinky fucking plastic smell for every time I drove the car until like it kind of burnt off. Eventually I managed to sort of scrape most of it off, but like those two things suck really bad, and I definitely don't want to do that. So I try to avoid it whenever I see one. Yeah.
We had a big job at the shop, and the lady took the car, left. She called back like the next day, and she said, there's a terrible smell. Something's wrong. I'm bringing it back in. All right. And it was a plastic bag stuck to her exhaust just coincidentally. And it's always a fun one. They don't believe you, they think you're lying. It's like, dude, here it is, that's what's going on.
It's such a pain in the ass to take off too.
It like doesn't really come off, right?
It's
it just
horrible.
fuses to it.
Yeah, you sort of scrape some of it off, and then eventually it just has to burn off basically.
At Morning Motors, 8 Series BMW showed up with a plastic bag stuck to the lower kind of valance there.
Oh yeah.
And someone helped him pull it off. So
nice guy.
It's out there. It's out there. Seller Cars says, caffeine has been outlawed and your only option for energizing in the morning is to go for a drive. What's your go-to car or motor for the daily wake-up call?
All right. So I feel like you got to be exposed a little bit, don't you? Like, I mean, you have a working heater, but either a Targa or a convertible helps because the fresh, cold air in the morning I feel like would really wake me up.
Yeah, that's not a bad call.
So that's the first criteria I think I'll start with, and then I'm trying to work through the rest of it.
Yeah.
But,
I don't need it to be jostling though. I don't need it to be like
a race
super
car,
focused race car. I would be fine with a SL65 or a AMG GT convertible, or trying to think of something more sporting. Yes, but it doesn't need to be a Caterham.
Yeah, you don't want not an Ariel Atom.
Maybe an air scarf in the mix.
Oh yeah,
something like that. You want Ariel
Atom? Yeah, I'm trying to decide if I want like an F355 GTS. Like I want a wailing engine and like a transmission. I want manual for sure. I want to be engaged.
Okay.
Or if I want like a beefy, like as you're like a V8 or something, where it's like you have some, NVH, but not NVH, but some vibrations and like sort of something to wake you up. I feel like you have to feel it through you, like the AMG is an interesting call. Yeah, like the AMG.
But there's no manual there, so.
There's no manual. Yeah. But yeah, I'm going to go with an F355 GTS. So you can take the top off, you hear that engine. I don't want a Spider. And maybe I can wear gloves even,
Oh, you'll definitely be wearing gloves. I picture a scarf.
Maybe a scarf. Yeah.
And like a little flat cap.
Maybe. Depends on how I'm feeling that day.
A little corduroy.
Now I'd probably do more like a tweed.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bobby Reed with the Cars says, last question. Well, maybe I'll see if there's any more. What's your favorite rad era diesel car? not truck or SUV. It's a tough one. It's a tough one.
That's a terrible era for cars. I mean, for diesel cars, right?
I mean, so I will say it's the same question, same answer I would have for the SUV if that was allowed. Is it's a 300 diesel Mercedes-Benz S-Class. They just don't. They weren't the prettiest. They had the like budget spec headlights and all the, it's just like a very utilitarian car, but they go like 1 million miles and they are just solid. So
yeah, Mercedes did it really well, right? Even like the W123 like TD wagons though. Like I mean, like
they're great. Yeah. And like BMW didn't really pull it. They had the 5 Series of the diesel. It was terrible. They had what else? Audi. Was there an Audi diesel option?
Sure, there was.
Early days.
Well, there's also like a bunch of Peugeots and shit that we didn't get, right? Like all the European stuff, which I imagine there's something there that we would like, but we don't know. I don't know.
Even a good
like
240 diesel Mercedes.
Ouch!
I know
that's too slow.
But those are just so iconic that I think if you got a perfect one with the right colors and interior and everything, it's like just around town, putt around.
Yeah, there's that one dude. He's got he's been to Radwood a few times. He brings his W1. Oh, it's a W201. So it's a 190D manual, and it's green.
Yep.
You know what I'm talking about?
It's awesome
with a cork interior, and he's got the hubcaps. Like that's a good look.
It's great.
Euro headlights.
Slow.
I think it's Euro car.
Probably
right?
slow, right?
Very.
Slowest ever.
Yeah. But it's a cool cruiser, I guess, right? But also just like very well built car. Also, so you get that. Yeah, I can't. I'm flummoxed.
Can't come up with anything.
I can't come up with anything else besides Mercedes because they did it so well. I think they probably made the best diesel like Radwood era cars in the 80s, I should say.
Yeah, Volvo made a few.
Dude, the domestic stuff was horrible, right? Like those
really
Oldsmobiles and all that.
Really, really bad.
Yeah,
which is funny because they made such great diesel trucks like Dodge and Chevy and stuff. But it didn't really catch on.
I think that's the answers. Yeah.
So, Morning Motors had our first of the year here in Santa Cruz, and
I did have a shout out to the early 80s diesel Maxima. There was a diesel Maxima. It was a good looking car, and it was like based on an L series inline 6. I've never driven one, but I like the car. So I don't know.
Are we ridiculous for not mentioning Volkswagen? I mean, they were slow, but
they're too slow.
No, they're so slow.
Too slow.
But you can get a Jetta, a Golf, Dasher.
Dasher, you can get a Dasher. Maybe even a Fox. I don't know.
I don't know if they made a Fox diesel. I'm sure maybe they did, but they're so slow. I'd rather have an S-Class or that Taxi 240.
Yeah.
D. You can get a C300 CE diesel. I think it's a 300. So a coupe, right? Yep. That's something. I don't know. Grasping here. It is an SUV option though. It'd be a G-Wagon or Land Cruiser.
Land Cruiser for sure.
Yeah.
Prado.
So yeah, you got any big Morning Motors stories?
So many stories, dude. I guess the big story is like I was just really impressed like how many people showed up. I mean, it was insane.
There was some demand.
Yeah, especially because on the way down, I drove down from where I'm at, like 50 miles north of here, and like, I mean, it was like pouring like half of the time, and coming over the hill here, which was 20-ish minutes away, like it was like full on downpour, like, and I really thought at that point, I'm like, no one's gonna show up to this thing, whatever, we'll just hang out.
Yeah.
And then when I pulled into the lot like 10 minutes early, I thought, right, like the lot was already full. Yeah. I mean, it was packed.
10 minutes early is half an hour late.
Yeah. I mean, I usually aim for 8:30, but this time I had the kid with me and it took longer. And but yeah, I showed up at 8:50 and it was already totally full.
Yeah. I've been showing up at 8 because I don't want to have to deal with crowds or people. So I just, get there at 8 and then just hang. But it was busy. And it was nice because you're right. The weather held out really well.
Yeah. It was cold and until the sun came.
Some rainbows?
Some rainbows. Yeah. It was a little
rainbow
bit
shots?
of rain in there.
But good turnout. Nice to see some peeps. Do a lap or two.
Yeah.
What was your what cars stood out?
Man, yeah, there were quite a few. There was one that's still in my mind just because I really enjoyed seeing it. Like just the whole scene as the sun kind of came through the clouds, the rainbow in the background. It was the first car I saw, and it popped in the sun. It was a 356 Speedster.
Oh, that was a nice one.
And it's a super iconic color combination. It's that silver with the red interior, and just a really nice car. And, you know, this guy drove it out in the rain. You know, that's like the Porsche thing, right? Like, you never driven in rain.
Right.
And this guy's driving out his, how much are those things now? I don't know. Are they $1 million yet? Who knows?
No.
And it's just like, it's like the one, right?
Yeah,
and it was so cool to see it out there. And, you know, that was a beauty. And then, you know, on the totally opposite end of the spectrum in terms of value, there was an MTech 1 E30. And like, you never see MTech 1s. And I had the Euro bumpers on it. It had super rad Speedline 5-spokes on it. And actually, there was another E30 with the other speed lines, the ones that are solid. The red car with the MTech kit had a multi-piece speed line. So I have a picture. I'm gonna post that later, but it's like who did it better, you know? Like it's like two different types of 5-spoke speed lines. But that was a cool car. You know, it was nice to see an early bumper car.
What was this? What's this thing called? A Vanderbilt or?
Oh yeah, Vanderbilt. Yeah, those are weird.
Is it a Vanderbilt?
Yeah.
Really?
No. Is it a Vanderhall?
Vanderhall.
I think it's a Vanderhall.
So this is like a slingshot 3-wheeled thing, but it's way more sleek appearing.
They have a big problem though. I'll tell you in a second.
This is not for me at all. But what's their big problem?
They have a CVT.
Ooh-wee.
Yeah.
Spicy.
Yeah. I don't know why they did that.
Wow.
And it's like this sporty thing. They fucking put a CVT in it.
Maybe they figured that it's so light and nimble that it doesn't matter. Like it's just going to get power no matter what.
It sucks, dude. I mean, like you think it would be a fun, engaging thing, right?
I know. Yeah. It was cool looking. So I was there early and that guy was there like right when I arrived. So that was cool.
That was cool.
I've never seen one in person really, but my standout was wasn't very like not super rare, but probably the nicest Volkswagen Vanagon Doka, white up on the sidewalk.
Oh yeah.
That I've seen in a really long time. It was pretty much perfect. I love those cars. I think they're so cool. It would definitely be one that I would want if I had like a big collection. It would definitely have a good Doka, and it was on Bring a Trailer. That's where we got it. $50-something thousand. So it better be nice.
They've been kind of steady though there, right? Like the nice ones, like they haven't really blown up.
Yeah, well, you could get them for $25-$30 for a long time, but this one was very, very nice. I didn't see any rust or issues, and I definitely looked. And it was all dirty, which I loved. The guy just obviously is using it.
It's a truck, right?
Basically, it's a truck. It's a 3-door, so the driver's side rear door there's no door. It's just passenger side has 2 doors. And then it's got a little pass-through, like Rivian style, below the bed. Bed folds down, all that stuff. It's just very utilitarian.
Yeah.
Super cool style. So I love those things.
Synchro, right?
It was a Synchro, yeah.
Those are the ones that bring the money.
Checked all the boxes.
Yeah. There's a bunch of cars. I mean, the other ones that I was like kind of like tripping out on again, you know, like I keep looking at classic minis.
Classic minis. I know there was a good little group.
Dude, the classic minis are so cool. And I keep looking at my garage. I'm like, man, I can fit one so easily right there. Like I can't even put it on casters and just like, put it in the corner. Like
I think we need to drive one because the only knock I've really heard on them, not only, but the main thing is that they're very flimsy feeling.
Well, the one that I will definitely have an issue with is that most of them are carbureted, so I would have to get a swapped one or something. I mean, I don't want to deal with swapping.
Are even the late ones carbureted?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about them. I mean, I'm like trying to learn about them now, but like, you know, they're just like such a cool package and they're very iconic and you know, they're
totally.
I love that, like a motorcycle, right? Like everything's just like pretty small and easy, like relatively easy, right? Like they have like a huge following and there's a lot of aftermarket support and it's just everything's so like dinky and kind of, I don't know.
Very cool. Their style points for sure.
Yeah. And the thing is that's what's, well, no, it's not the thing, but it's one of the major things for me is that it's all positive vibes, right? Like everybody loves them. Like it's not a pretentious like asshole car at all. Like it's a really cool car that makes everybody smile, and I feel like my kids would love it. And and you could jump in, like run to the store in it, and like, you know, it's like fun. You know, it's got a ton of like interior room, and like you could throw like, I mean, all the groceries in it, but also like have fun. You know.
So now that we are old bastards, and have families and things, where does like overall vehicle safety fall on your list? Because like, you know, I'm all for a Mini and I think they're cool. However, I don't think I'd want to do a rally in one, and I don't think I'd want to drive one to San Francisco or to wherever, you know, like.
Interesting. By yourself?
I mean, just in general, like it's not a safe car.
No,
and
it's not. Yeah.
And 90% of the cars on the road are going to be like at your head level, bumper wise.
It's pretty brutal. Yeah.
So I'm just curious, like, you know, as you have options and you don't have to get the flimsiest little car in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Where does that?
Yeah, I guess it just depends on like, cause it's like, it's an occasional kind of used car, right? So like, I feel like that's how I justify it. Like, it's not like something that I'm using on a daily basis. And I feel like also for its intended purpose, like I wouldn't necessarily be going into the city very often. It would be more like just driving around town.
Yeah, I think like I'd drive it around Santa Cruz would be fine, Santa Cruz Mountains, but to like
the rally thing is rough, like especially going on highways for a long period of time. Like that's pretty sketchy. But also just not very comfortable and fun. I feel like that would be a pain in the ass.
I know. And then you're like, well, I have this Mini, but I'm not going to take it on the rally. Like, what am I even? Do I even own a Mini?
It's for the other laughs. It's for other it's miles per mile, I guess.
I guess so.
I'm trying to think of other cars there. I mean, without going through the pictures on my phone, I'm just like scanning the space. I
know. There was a bug, Volkswagen Beetle contingent.
Oh yeah, there was a bunch of them.
A contingent,
not a convention either.
A lot of BMWs.
Yeah. I remember, dude. So there was this guy. It's funny. So I went to that San Mateo Cars and Coffee thing a couple weeks ago, and a dude that parked next to me
Did he park hard?
He parked kind of a little hard,
medium rare,
more medium rare. Yeah. He showed up and parked right next to me, and he had a 997.1 GT3, so white car, black interior, buckets.
Is that what Ruben has?
No, he's got a 0.2.
997.2.
And it's a GT3 RS. So this is a GT3. Right. So GT3 manual.
Yeah.
So it's a narrow body versus wide body, and the 0.2 has a bunch of different like stuff going on, like different motor mounts and stuff, but probably it also looks differently.
Pretty good car.
So I love, like, dude, the 0.1 narrow body, like it's a car that I thought about back in the day, but again, there's too fast. We talk about the gearing and all that, but like I was like, this is the second time I see the car, because like I invited him over to this one. Like I'm like, dude, like we talked for a while and like asked what I did, whatever. I'm like, you should definitely come to our thing next week, and he's like, yeah, sure. He lives in Palo Alto. So like I was looking at his car for a while. I'm like, dude, like if I could do like a shorter gear set in that car, like, and just be able to just road through gears and like top out at 140, who cares? Like it doesn't matter. Yeah. Like that would be so rad. Like that engine is amazing. And like they look incredible. They obviously handle extremely well.
So well styled. They just nailed it.
And they're still the right size, right? Like, and it's a narrow body, so it isn't even, the 0.2s are sexy.
That's a good point.
It's got the big hips and everything, but like, I feel like the smaller one, I mean,
so what do those go for now?
I looked, dude, they're still 120. I thought for a second that they were like in the high 70s, low 80s, and then now they're 120 for a decent car with miles. Low mileage cars are going up to 150, so they're not cheap. And 0.2s are a whole other world. But so those are really, really cool though, and it was nice to see it there. And it was cool because like a lot of people like were asking him questions. I saw him open the doors, and like and like it's a car that was I know it's kind of weird to say, but in our parts, like it's just, we see these all the time. Yeah. And, but that one in particular, it just sat right, and it's got the stock wheels with spacers, and the fitment is really good. And,
nice.
And it's white over black, which is a nice color combination.
Yeah. It's definitely it's kind of like my buddy Tom was joking when I bought the Tundra. He's like, well, too bad you'll never have to shop for a truck again, because it's such like a perfect do everything. And they're very reliable, right? They're not going to fail often. And that feels like the same kind of thing where you're like, well, now you have a perfect car.
It does all the sports car stuff, right?
Yeah. Does it have a back seat still?
GT3s do. I don't know if this one did, because I think he had a half cage in it. Yeah. So I imagine it's not there.
Probably not.
Yeah. But it's this. I mean, the rear seat delete on a 911 is kind of trivial. It's like you remove some pads.
Take 1 second.
Yeah. But normally they do though. So that's the thing. And I mean, I'm not in the market for it. If I'm going to spend money on, that amount of money, I would probably buy something else. But it's a very, very good car though.
Yeah.
And that one stood out.
Cool. Yeah, no, it was a great event. Thanks for everyone for coming. We'll do another one at the end of February as well. I don't know exactly when, but sure we'll figure it out and announce it soon. I think we would be remiss not to mention the 1992 GTI that sold on Bring a Trailer.
Yeah.
And this is old news by now. Obviously, this podcast will come out long after, but 1992 16-valve US GTI with 50,000 miles, 53,000, I think. 10-year-old timing belt. things of that nature. Very nice car though. Red, the classic late Mark II GTI, like very, very nice car. It went for $87,000 with 3 bidders at 60 something and 2 that battled it out to 87. So, I actually, Chef Malone, our buddy Kevin, sent this to me right after it closed. And then I was like, holy cow. And I sent it to another group. And the conversation was like, basically, I was like, well, this is unfortunate because I love those cars. I've owned a Mark II. I've been around those cars a lot. And now to think like, you just cannot get a nice one. I mean, you can get a nice one, but it's going to have 150,000 miles and that's fine. But like a low mileage, good example cars that are super hard to find. They were all beat, used, and passed down through families and friends. And they're hard to find. So
I was just checking right now as you're saying this, cause I had a 92 big bumper car, 16 valve, like same condition.
Yeah.
It was super, super clean.
Very good.
Very, very nice car, 2-owner car. I mean, mint cloth interior, like, really, really a nice car. And it had a rebuilt engine, but it had 150,000 miles on it. And I sold it, and I was checking to see when I sold it. I sold it in 2012 for $4,500. And I was wondering how much is that car worth now?
If it stayed like you sold it and was used very sparingly, it's
probably
worth
probably like 50. Well, not that much, right? Like maybe 15, 20 max.
Yeah. 15. Yep. 15, 20.
Because it had miles. And I know everybody, like, especially when it comes to like the BAT world, it's all about mileage, right? Because they're investing in a car.
It is, but 50
is not quite collector grade.
It's not collector grade. It's already, that's.
You're ready for stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially there's a 10-year-old timing belt, like all that stuff.
Right.
Everything
needs to be done. Of course, there's going to be other stuff needed. And if it was half that sales result, so, 40 something, 40-ish, it would still be kind of mind-blowing to me.
But it's like you almost like start to see
it. You're like, okay, 35, I could see that. Yes. Yeah. 40, it's like, geez, you spent 40 for a GTI. Mark II, by the way, and then now we're at double that. It's and the 3 bidders to 60 validates like it's definitely a $50,000-$60,000 car. There was 3 guys that were willing, and for sure someone was willing to spend 87.
Unbelievable!
It's unbelievable. So, anyways, there was a lot of chatter about it, and especially for like the diehard Volkswagen guys, I think it's good and bad. It's like the Radwood effect, right? Like you create. Now there's value in them, so people will preserve them and cherish them and want to keep them going. But the flip side is that like now there's no cheap cars. That's all gone. Yeah. So
it's I don't know though, man. I like
maybe it's a little bit of a,
but I just don't
outlier.
I just don't see that this is a legitimate purchase. I feel like there's weird shit going on.
Yeah, you're
like,
saying that.
I feel like there's some laundering going on, dude. Like it doesn't make any sense. Like I
think that 2 people get heated about it, and maybe it's like the exact car he had in high school, and now he's a billionaire, and it doesn't matter.
That is a possibility, but also if you're a billionaire, you can just go find a red one and have it fully restored to like pristine.
That's a good point.
Start from scratch, and the money doesn't even matter.
Or maybe he's going to restore it too.
On top of it already,
right? Like,
start with the best car or whatever. I mean, I guess that's a possibility, but yeah, like who are these buyers, dude? I feel like it's bizarre. I don't get it. I mean, and then obviously our friend Travis sold his 98 E36 M3 or 99.
Yeah.
Just a coupe, Alpine white over black. Nice car, very nice driver, with 150,000 miles. Like very well maintained, but it wasn't perfect. It was just a very nice driver. And it sold for $40,000. And I was like, and that's a record. And again, like very well presented. Travis did a fantastic job with the listing.
And it was dialed. It needed nothing.
Yeah,
but it wasn't perfect.
Yeah, it was like cosmetically, like some things. And but I mean, is that the same situation where like, okay, they wanted the Alpine white, but didn't want to do any work? And like, I just feel like it just doesn't make any sense in my head. But because all these cars need work no matter what, right? Like
for sure.
But if you are loaded enough, you start with the best one. That's like a thing. But it's just it's mind-boggling.
It really is. Part of me is hopeful that this will bring out a lot of Volkswagens for sale because they're very rare. They don't come very often.
And then naturally, what ends up happening then that saturates the market, and then and then it corrects itself again.
Exactly.
I mean, Yeah, because I saw that Matt Kirk got his car back because I guess the sale fell through with his teal car, with his Montana green car. And so like I hit him up right away because I know you'd kind of been looking at those. And I'm like, hey, dude, I think I have a buyer for you. Like, just kind of like, is it for sale? And he's like, well, let me think about it after that sale. I don't know what to even do, you know, like, and so, and
what was, do you know what it sold for?
I have no idea. So, but it
was a private sale.
Private sale.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And there was a Montana green car at, I think it was
Detroit.
At Chicago and Detroit.
Oh, both.
Anyway, same car, but at Detroit. And I almost offered to buy it, you know, just to see if he was interested in selling it and to start there. But the closer I looked, it's like, there's rust there and there's a little bubble there. And you know, I'm not really looking for a car from Detroit usually. So it wasn't like the right combo. But even then I'm like, oh, they're really rare and this would be the one to get.
Yeah.
But
well, and the funny thing is that in that neck of the woods, like that car is fine, right? Like that's a great purchase.
Oh,
like,
it's beyond fine.
For us, it's like, you know, like once we see bubbles here and there, especially like for me, the deal breakers are always around the windscreen, like in the windshield,
this is on the rear tailgate,
or around glass, basically, I should say, right? Because that's a lot of work, and then you know dealing with paint work and blending and like all that, and then or is it the whole panel at that point? And then now it doesn't match, and I just start. That's where my mind goes, right? And then now you're at a full respray, and like it's like.
Besides what you can't see, you know, it's like all that you're going to go down even further. And
that's true. Yeah, because that's all and I mean, and that one was interesting too because I mean, and I feel bad for we're ragging on this car. I mean, as we said, it's the guy was very proud of it and he like displayed, you know, and it was like nice wheels and all that. But it's like a car like that. I remember like it looked like it had been resprayed and there were bubbles poking through the respray, which is like really what was where you're like, okay, I don't know, I don't want to be involved here. Yep.
I don't want to get involved. My buddy DA, who has that Montana green GTI that he's driven halfway or probably like 5 times around the world by now. Everything, it's completely totaled and everything, but he drives it all the time.
Yep.
He made it known to me a few weekends ago that he absolutely wants to bring it on a rally.
Oh my God, dude.
At first I thought he was like, I really want to be part of a rally someday. And I was like, dude, yeah, it's like, I was thinking he wanted to co-drive with me at some point. I'm like, for sure, let's do it. And he's like, no, like I want to drive like my car. I want it to go on a rally. And I said, you'll either be the most popular person on the rally or the least popular person. Because
I think it'll be very popular just with like the group that it is, right? People will laugh, but is it like mechanically sound? I mean, like
sound enough to drive from like across California on a regular basis.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
But it would definitely be entertaining.
I said that too. It'll have to be a summer rally because he has no heat. So.
Oh yeah, and he does. Yeah, he said it was fine without AC. I remember that conversation, right? Or was it the heat? One or the other. He was like totally fine either way.
Oh well, yeah, he's fine either way. But I think the joke was like, "How's the air conditioning?" It's like, yeah, it's not working. Like everything on the car.
Yeah, I feel like this. I mean, we'll have to send Joao a picture of this thing to insert here because it's worth like seeing again.
That's a good point. Actually, I'll text him some pictures.
Yeah, this thing is like, I mean, you mentioned that car from Africa that was like the worst car you ever seen. Like I was this. Well, and I was thinking this, but it sounds like a whole other level.
The one from I'm gonna play. We'll watch it after this. I'll just show you that 5 minutes of that video. It's jaw dropping that it's still continuing.
Does it have body panels?
Yes, but like I don't even want to give it away, but I should because no one's gonna watch this. But Deadliest Journeys, Cameroon. I believe it's Cameroon. There's no. The back of the car is rusted through, I think, and so the exhaust goes into the cabin.
Oh my gosh!
And then out the missing taillights.
Sweet.
So that gives you just a little taste, literally.
Wow.
Taste.
And your luggage, I guess, goes on top of the exhaust or whatever.
Yeah.
Your luggage, by the way.
Luggage. Louis Vuitton
fitted luggage.
It's just like snake skin and
trunks.
All right, trivia time.
I guess so.
It's trivia time. All right, this question comes to us from Cars and Bids. Haven't looked at Cars and Bids in a while, but here we are. This is interesting to us because we've talked about these cars in the past, but I haven't seen them for sale yet. I haven't even seen one in person. 2023 Toyota GR Corolla Core Edition.
The white one?
The white one. Did you see it?
Wait, when did that sell?
It's sold on the 13th.
Oh, I did see it.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, because there's a whole story behind it.
It's sold, though. Not a Civic.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So
what's the story?
He lost money on that sale.
Oh, I imagine so.
Yeah. So that's the whole thing, is that he basically.
I thought it was just the Civic Si that made the news.
No, both of them did apparently. Yeah.
So yeah. Anyways, this was news to me. This is out of Pennsylvania. It looks like a brand new car, but it is at someone's house, like not at a dealership. Really bad photos, all iPhone. And not that it really matters. It's a brand new car. You can see good photos of these cars everywhere. But do you remember what it sold for? For the listeners, take a guess right now if you're listening or watching.
Yeah, I want to say like 48 or something like that.
Yeah. 48,550.
Yeah, which is, and so I think the guy had paid like over that, but he didn't want to admit it, and everyone was doing, like, all these sleuths went out there and found out that he must have paid like 8 more than that or something. So like he sold that at a loss, and then the CTR did not sell, but was like, it was bid up to around the same, or low 50s. And the guy admitted, though, the guy with the Civic Type R did admit that he paid 20 over. So, yeah, both of them were fails, basically.
Wow. Yeah, so anyways, I didn't know what those were going to go for or be available, but it seems like still a lot of money. But
yeah, I think they're stickered, which doesn't mean anything right now, but
right.
Like something like 39, but for that one, like the base model. But yeah, I mean, you're buying the drivetrain and everything else, right? Because the interior is whatever. I mean, it's like a super basic car.
I want to hear it too, because 3-cylinder, I don't know, it's a funky thing. I know they're getting better at it, but
Funky Town.
Won't you take me too? Mm-hmm. All right, that's a podcast. Well, thanks for listening. Thanks for joining us. We will see you next time.
Later.
Mahalo for your kukua.